The next area that I'd like to take a look at is creating a group or a work group. A work group is a very powerful feature of the BizConnect with Bitrix24 in that it allows us to create subgroups of people to be able to share data and work together on a particular project or area of common interest. So the first thing we have to do is give it a title. We can also give it a description. We can upload an image to help us identify our group. It serves as an icon to help our group jump out, make it a little bit more recognizable quickly. Now we have some options. The group can be visible to all, meaning that it'll show up on the group's list, or it can be invisible, meaning that it'll only show up on the list if a person is a member of the group. For our purposes, we'll keep the group visible. So others would be able to see that the group exists, but they wouldn't be able to see the contents of the group. A public group, people would be able to see the contents of the group, but they would not be able to contribute to the group or add files, add photos, anything of that nature unless they requested to become a member. We're not going to select that for now. The group can also be available to the extranet, meaning somebody that is not a part of your company, but you want to be able to give them some limited access. This may be, for instance, a client. And what's nice about this feature is I don't want to select it now because we're just getting this group started and I need some people to do some work before we're ready to let the client come in and see our progress. But later on, I'm going to want to be able to select this option so that the client can come in and see our progress and perhaps make comments, if there's any areas that we need to make adjustments on. Now, before we create the group, I also want to point out the features of the group. You can turn on or off as many of these features as are here. Photos, calendars, tasks, wiki, files, conversation, search. We'll leave everything on. Members, we can begin to invite people, and we have a few different ways we can do this, as you've seen in other instances before. People that we've recently had interaction with, we can invite them that way. We can invite from our company structure, if that is set up. Invite a few people. We can also do it through a search. If we begin to type a person's first name, they'll jump up and you can select them that way as well. So we'll invite these members to the group. And now we see that our group is created. If we had deselected any of these items from that previous screen, they wouldn't be visible to us. But of course we took them all. Now you'll notice at this time, I'm the only member of the group. I had invited 4 other people into it. They won't show up as members until they accept the invitation, which was just automatically sent to them, asking them to join the group. Now if we look here at the actions of the group, we'll see that there's a number of things we can do. We can still invite new members to the group, and you'll see here's the ones that have been invited but have not yet responded. We can add other names to this and send an invitation. We can edit the group. Say for instance, I didn't want to have all the features that were in there. I just want to have the basic things of photo gallery, files, and search. And now you see all of those other options have now disappeared from up here at the top. Of course, I can add those back at any time. We could choose to make the group available to the extranet, meaning that we can now allow a client to come and view the progress of a group. Clicking on More, we can change the parameters of who's able to invite other people into the group. The default is the group owner and those that you've assigned as moderators. We could say that only the owner is allowed to invite people, or anybody from the group is allowed to invite people. By clicking Edit Settings, we'll see that we have a number of parameters that we can set. The first is whether or not the photo gallery is enabled or disabled. We can name the gallery. We can assign who is able to edit the photo gallery. Again, just the owner and moderators, all group members, or authorized users. And that's set up in the permissions, or all visitors. We'll leave it the default, owner and moderators. And then who's able to view the photo gallery, and we'll say all group members. And we have similar options for each of the categories. We can name the calendar, the task feature. We can name the tasks, and again, we assign the various permissions to the tasks. We can name our file folders, and you can see conversations gives us many options. Who's able to view posts, who's able to create posts, who's able to manage or delete posts, and we'll just leave all those set for the default now as well. So there's a tremendous amount of options that you have in the group settings. We also have the ability to edit users. You can also give each individual the ability to invite users, to upgrade them to a moderator, again to remove them from the group, to permanently ban them from the group, meaning that they could not request to join again, and again to change the ownership of the group. When I say change the ownership, that would be similar to, say for example, a group administrator, the person that has the authority to change the settings for everybody else in the group. And the way we find that group in the future is to come down here to Workgroups, click on All Groups, and this is where the icon is a convenient feature because this group jumped right out to us because of the graphic that we assigned to it. We can also narrow the field by just clicking on My Groups, by clicking on Archived Groups, which I don't have any at this moment, Extranet Groups, which again meaning that perhaps a client has the ability to come in and see these. And tags would just be adding keywords to help others to find our groups. You can also come back in at any time and just verify who invitations have been sent to. And perhaps I have forgotten somebody, and I click Invite to Group, and the one that I forgot was my client. And of course my client's not going to show up in my company structure. So, because he's an external user, I'm going to have to invite him to the group by email. And then of course I can send my invitation. Now I just received a notification, and when I check that, I see that Carl here has confirmed membership to my group. And if I come back here to see my invitations and requests, I'll see that his name has now disappeared. Again, going back to invitations and requests, I can see the people that have not yet responded to my invitation, and I can decide, maybe this person didn't need to receive it after all. I'll just cancel that invitation. And now I only have 2 people that are still pending. Going back to my group, I can see that Carl has joined, so I might want to come right over here to edit users, and I see now that Carl is a member. I'll want to highlight him, but my action now might be that I want to set him as a group moderator, thereby giving him more permissions than other members of the group might have, depending on how I've chosen to edit my parameter settings back here. Now you'll notice here that our group is actually saying that it's an extranet group. You see the extranet appears in green in parentheses to the upper right of the group name. I'm not really ready to let the client come in yet, so I don't want this to be an extranet group right now. So I'm going to edit my group, and I'm just going to turn this option off, and I'll turn that back on at some point in the future. And we can see that the extranet group no longer appears in that corner. And now my group has moved from being an extranet group, where it was previously, up here to the in-house work groups. The groups is a very powerful feature of the TheBizConnect, and there can be many different types of groups. A group could be temporary, like say for instance you wanted to make a public group, meaning that it's open to anybody for those that would like to help with the company picnic. And then of course when the event is over, that group would be over, and you may choose to save that group to the archive, so that next year you might want to go back and see who were the people that helped you the previous year and invite them to help again. A group could be permanent in that, say for instance the marketing department, which is always going to exist. A group could be set up based around a particular project or client, in which case the extranet is a valuable tool because the client could have some limited ability to come in and see what you're doing. Some even set up contact lists. Say for instance there's a group of people that you like to contact all at the same time for a particular reason, much the way a distribution list would work in email. You could set up a group just for those people just to make communication simpler. The final item in the actions is subscription. It's best to think of subscriptions as what level of notification do you feel you need. Everything that happens in the group might not be of the same level of interest to you. So you'll have the option of don't notify me, which is the default. You want email notification, or you want instant messaging, meaning it's going to come to the notification messaging in the BizConnect. So I might not work with the photos, so I don't need to be notified when photos are updated. Tasks, I would like to get email notification. Files, I would also like email notification. Conversations, I would like to get instant messaging notification. And Wiki, I'll leave that set to don't notify. So each individual can set up the subscriptions or notifications however they like. You will notice that a person clicking on actions, depending on the level that they've been set, are they the group owner, are they a group moderator, or are they a group member, will change what they have available to them. A member of a group will always have the option to leave the group, to invite other members if you've given them that permission, and to change their subscriptions. And that's the basics of using groups in the BizConnect.